Our journey through the World Cup on the Nintendo Switch continues in this episode. There's a very good chance it probably ends in this episode as well because we're playing Holland and Argentina. Hello and welcome to part 2 of my Football Manager Touch on Nintendo Switch World Cup series. What a catchy name we've got for this one. I'm Kev and today we're playing against Holland and Argentina in our final 2 group games at the World Cup. If you missed the last episode, firstly, I strongly recommend you go back and watch it. But if you can't be bothered, we beat South Korea 4-1 in the first group game and Argentina beat Holland 2-1. So the group, as it stands at the moment, going into the Holland game, we are top of the group. Argentina in second, Holland down in third place. So we need a win. If we can beat Holland, we make it through the group without having to worry about what happens against Argentina. We'll just be playing to finish top of the group. And that's the ideal scenario for us. We've made a few tweaks to the team, specifically to the defence. I wasn't best pleased when we conceded an early goal against South Korea, and I did talk about the option of bringing in Phil Jones and Danny Rose during that game, so they've both come into our defence. So our team is Jordan Pickford in goal, a back four of Rose, Jones, Stones and Walker. We're continuing with Wilshere and Henderson in midfield. Eric Dyer still injured. And we've got Harry Kane up front, supported by Rashford, Dele Alli and Raheem Sterling. We're going to go into this control and flexible like we did in the last game. We might live to regret it, but I think as a squad, we're quite attack heavy. And I am thinking that if we're going to have any chance of having a deep run in this World Cup, then we're going to have to attack. There's no point in us trying to sit back, soak up the pressure, let teams come at us, because we're just not good enough to do that. We've got one decent centre-back, and I'm trying to work out who the second one to play alongside him is. Hopefully Phil Jones becomes that man. And our fullbacks are basically wingers. Even our backup options were very, very attacking wing-backs on both sides. Our goalkeeper is very young and inexperienced, and we don't have a defensive midfield player because I only picked one and then broke him. So we've just got to attack. And I think we do have the potential in the squad to outscore anybody. And then we look at Holland, who are throwing quite an attacking-looking lineup out there. Obviously, in real life, Holland didn't qualify for the World Cup. It doesn't look as terrifying as a Dutch team with the likes of Ruud Gullit or Dennis Bergkamp in. We're not exactly hitting them in a period of world-class Dutch players, but we're only England. You know, I'm looking at our team thinking, yeah, well, we've got Jack Wilshere and Phil Jones in ours. We're not exactly. It's not exactly Alan Shearer and whoever else. Gaza. I know footballers. I can't believe I couldn't think of 2 good England players. That's ridiculous. Right, are we going to concede an early goal again? So I don't want that to become a habit for the tournament. I'd quite like to just go ahead, win the game comfortably, qualify for the next round, and just sit and have a cup of tea while the second match is played against Argentina, and just let Messi and Dybala do whatever they want to us and not really care, knowing that the advantage of playing them in the group stages is the next time we'd have to play them is the final if we make it there. So that's a good thing. But obviously, for us to be able to go into it with that kind of attitude, we have to beat Holland. A draw isn't going to be enough to allow us to go into the final game against Argentina not caring what happens. It keeps the door open for Holland, who, while we're playing Argentina, they'll be playing South Korea. Right, Raheem Sterling is injured. We did talk in the last episode how I wasn't entirely sure whether I wanted Sterling or Lingard on the right wing, and it looks like we get to have an extended look at Jesse Lingard because Sterling is injured. It says he's got a twisted ankle, so that's potentially going to keep him out for the Argentina game as well, depending on how bad that is. I don't know how long you're out for with a twisted ankle, but that could be a couple of weeks, 7 to 10 days. That could be 2 games missed. He might not be back until like the quarter-final if we make it that far. So Lingard is going to get at least today's game, if not a little bit more than that against Argentina. I am toying with the idea against Argentina of doing a 4-3-3, but it's difficult when we don't have another Eric Dyer. That was always my backup plan. Have this as an attacking formation and then a defensive formation that has Dyer sat in front of the back four, but with him not fit, I don't know if we've got the personnel to do it without really, really weakening our team. And we've not really created much in this first half. We're struggling for possession. We've only had 2 shots on target. To be fair, Holland have only had 1. Neither of these teams look very good, which I guess is a fair assessment of them. But we need the win. We need the win more than they do. That's not even true. They're out. If they lose, they're out. Even a draw for them, they're going to go into that final game needing Argentina to do them a favour. Whereas obviously a win, if they win this and then beat South Korea, which they should, so a win for them against us pretty much gets them through as well, unless they have a spectacular mess up against South Korea. But I mean, I guess if you were going to bet on our results before the tournament started, you'd say we'd beat South Korea, draw with Holland, lose against Argentina. And then it comes down to a goal difference competition between us and Holland. And they've scored. So it might not even make it that far because we're 1-0 down on 56 minutes. Oh, goody, we get to see the 3D replay. I cannot end this series after 2 episodes. I've got to at least make it out of the group stage, surely. Although it's quite a realistic World Cup for England if we don't, I guess. Right, what on earth do we do to change this up? Harry Kane's not playing well. Dele Alli's not playing well. I mean, these are our players that we kind of need to rely on, and they're not playing well. So I'm thinking Vardy and Lallana on for those two in a minute. If we don't do something in a minute. Did John Stones just get his second goal of the tournament? He didn't. It's gone down as an own goal. It was Lingard who put the cross in, I think, or is he drilling a shot in of his own? It looked like it hit John Stones. So it is a shot from Lingard, and it wasn't Stones. It was a very clear own goal we see from the replay, and it's back to 1-1, and all of a sudden we can stop panicking a little bit again. But Harry Kane needs to come off regardless. He had a good game against South Korea. He has not turned up at all today. So let's take Harry Kane off and bring on Vardy, I guess, would be the obvious one. I can't remember who else. We've got Danny Ings and Rashford would be our fourth striker. So Rashford's already in the team. So I don't imagine myself using Danny Ings at any point in this tournament. It was basically a coin flip between him and Daniel Sturridge, and I went with Ings. I didn't have any plans to use either of them. They're there as emergencies, but Vardy is definitely our first reserve as our main striker, and it won't do him any harm to get some game time into him, and he might get on here and look a bit special, and we might have to rethink the formation completely. He hopes. What we're going to do is our final substitution. I think Jack Wilshere probably needs to come off again. The Jack Wilshere experiment doesn't seem to be working, but the only problem is I don't have a plan B for that. I kind of needed Jack Wilshere to be a good option. I mean, remember, he was only picked to be first backup to Henderson and Dyer. So I'm going to forever blame the Eric Dyer injury if we don't make it into the knockout rounds. It's all because of that injury. So we'll bring Maitland-Niles on again. He's playing his second game of the World Cup. Probably didn't expect that at the start of this season. And let's see if we've got... I mean, there might be a sneaky little goal in us somewhere. Although a draw is far from ideal, it's an awful lot better than losing to the team we're likely to be competing for second place with. So as long as we don't concede again, he says, as Holland have an attack. Can we get a boot in? Anybody get a tackle in? We've actually got a little bit of a counter-attack set up here, and it is with Dele Alli, and we've got Rashford in space, but he brought it inside weirdly. Vardy, though, I was about to moan at him for mishitting that. I need to see this in 3D to work out what's happened here, because it looked like Vardy just shinned it and it ballooned up in the air. But somehow, I mean, in fact, give him his dues. That is a spectacular lob from a keeper who's only about 3 feet off his line. That was pretty special from Jamie Vardy. And all of a sudden, I have some thinking to do about who my first choice striker is. Lingard crosses in. Maitland-Niles makes it 3-1. We are into the knockout rounds of the World Cup in, I mean, quite unexpected fashion. And John Stones has been absolutely lethal from these corners. He scored from one against South Korea. He's been in the mix for 2 of our goals from set pieces in this game, forcing the own goal and then having the flick on there. Oh my goodness, it might not be all over. 86 minutes on the clock, and it's Holland 2, England 3, and all of a sudden it's not a foregone conclusion anymore. It's because I announced we were in the knockout rounds, probably a little bit prematurely, but can we not mess up from here, lads? That would be quite nice if we could hold on. Maybe another wonder strike, a 4-2, and I'm starting to feel a bit more confident. Then 5 minutes of added on time as well. So I announced we were into the next round about 15 minutes before the end of the match. Imagine being a Dutch fan listening to the England manager do that. and they've now got a counter-attack on us. It smells a lot like our third goal, but it is a save. In fact, I don't think it is, because they've not won a corner for it. And this is going to be the last attack, and it's falling to us. Rashford. I mean, I would have expected a little bit more pace and power from Rashford there. He just kind of ran into a player and stopped. And Maitland-Niles has been fouled pretty much on the stroke of full time. There's just time to take the free kick, and that's it. We've beaten Holland, and we are into the knockout rounds, I think. I don't see how any... I mean, it is reliant on Argentina having beaten South Korea, which let's assume they have. It might not be mathematically certain if they didn't, but I think it's really unlikely that they would not have beaten Korea. Do we get to see that game? If we click on our group, so World Cup Group H, that's what we want to look at. I can't click on it. They've not even played their game yet, so let's assume they're going to beat them, but we'll find out before we play them next anyway. Right, a few changes for the Argentina game, none of them enforced really. If we have a look down our squad, you'll see that we've got Jack Wilshere suspended through 2 yellow cards, Dele Alli suspended, Raheem Sterling is injured. Why is Eric Dyer not even in the squad? Did he just go home? I've only just noticed that. He was definitely in the squad when we announced it, but presumably he's so injured he's just gone home. So there's no chance of us seeing Eric Dyer. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before in Football Manager. Why were we not able to pick a replacement? I guess... Or if we're not, why is he not just still in the squad? Like Sterling's out for 3 weeks. He's probably going to miss the entire World Cup now, but he's not just gone home. That's a weird one. But this is the changes. So we brought Gomez in at right back and Rose... Rose was already in at left back, wasn't it? It's Gomez comes in at right back just to see if he's any good at it. Offer us a little bit more protection from Messi, who's going to be coming down that side, presumably. And I don't know if I trust Kyle Walker or Nathaniel Klein to actually be able to defend. They're basically wing backs. Gomez is basically a centre back. So that's my thinking there. Maitland-Niles comes into midfield because he's the only midfielder we've got. Now Wilshere's suspended and Ali's suspended. Lallana comes in to play in behind Kane. I'm not entirely sure if Shadow Strike is the best thing to do with Adam Lallana, but I don't really want to change the way we're playing, and that's how Dele Alli will play when he's back in the next game. And Lingard, of course, comes in for the injured Raheem Sterling. The team's kind of picking itself because we've got so few players available to us at this point. We are still going control and flexible because it's the only way we know how to play, really. We've just had, in the end, quite a solid result against Holland, and it will be interesting to see how this attacking version of the tactic, especially with some of the second string players in, it will be interesting to see how it does against presumably one of the pre-tournament favourites in Argentina. If we can put in a decent showing, even like a draw or a narrow defeat, that's going to give us confidence going into the knockout rounds. And if we manage to pull off a win, then obviously we're going to go and win the World Cup, because that's what happens when England win a game. Everyone thinks they're going to go and win the World Cup. So Messi is starting on that left-hand side-ish. In fact, he's playing central midfield, the left-hand side of central midfield, which seems interesting. Again, my knowledge of real-world football leaves a little to be desired, but I don't know that I'm playing Lionel Messi in central midfield if I'm Argentina. But then I guess if you look at the fact they've got Di Maria on the left wing and Higuain and Dybala up front, I guess they can probably afford to not have him as part of their attack and just have him in midfield controlling the game. Why not? It's basically Messi up against Jordan Henderson in central midfield. I know who I'm backing. Jordan, come on. And Maitland-Niles is there alongside him, probably starting his first ever game for England. I don't know for sure that he's never started a game before, but there's probably quite a good chance. But don't worry, Joe Gomez is there to protect them if it all goes wrong. 25 minutes in, and it's been a pretty much non-event of a game, which I guess both teams, no one really needs to overexert themselves in this game. The last thing we want is bookings or injuries. We're both through to the next round. We just need to, it's really a little exercise in keeping fitness levels up and trying out a few different players in different roles. That might even be why they're playing Messi in midfield. They're perhaps just having a look at him there. Dybala now running at our Terrible defence. But I tell you what, John Stones is one of the players of the tournament so far. He's deadly going forward, and he's a decent defender as well. But Danny Rose has got himself booked and given away a penalty, and it's Messi to take, and it is England 0, Argentina 1 on 32 minutes. Remember, we don't need to panic. When pre-tournament, we were just, our only goal was make it out of the group stages. If we end up finishing second behind Argentina, that's surely all anybody expected of us, and it won't be the end of the world when it comes to managing expectations in the media if we go and lose against Argentina. Because imagine what the English media would be like if this was the real World Cup and England beat Argentina in the group stages. It would be, I mean, you'd have to shield yourself from the media because you'd assume we'd already won the World Cup. I am looking at Danny Rose thinking it might be a good idea to bring Luke Shaw on sooner rather than later. Rose is on a yellow card. He's on a 6.1. He's not particularly fit, and he almost lunged into another tackle. He could have got himself sent off before half time there. And it is now 2-0 to Argentina, and any thoughts that we had of trying to win this game are now gone, and it's now just all about maintaining fitness for the next round. So I'm going to take players off based purely on how fit they are and how important they are to our performance in subsequent rounds. So I think I would argue our most important player is Harry Kane, so it probably makes sense to take him off sooner rather than later. Danny Rose, because he's just having a terrible game and he's on a yellow card, will probably be coming off too. And I guess Jordan Henderson has become incredibly important because there's no other options. We're so light with our midfield players that we probably need to protect him a little bit as well. Right, here's an attack, but Rashford can't quite get there. But although Argentina are sort of faffing around with it a little bit at the back, but look at that. I mean, they're just playing it around us for fun. Jones gets across and makes the interception. I mean, I guess there's an argument that we could do a 3 at the back against bigger teams in future games. If we can't do the 4-3-3 that I had in mind, we could play all 3 of these centre-backs who are on the pitch now. We've got attacking wing-backs who could play on the wide areas of the wing-backness. And, we're being thumped. Basically, what we've learned from today is this system doesn't work against anyone who's any good. Which, I mean, I guess it's a useful learning point, although the squad was very much built around playing this system. So we're going to have to come up with a new plan. Oh, I don't want a new plan. Right, Maitland-Niles, forward to Rashford. At least a goal would be nice. Let's show we can score against a big team. Look, Jesse, I didn't mean have a shot from there. I know you stood right next to me, but think a little bit. We've got Harry Kane stood in the penalty area there. We could at least play it forward to him and let him have a shot, like Marcus Rashford's just done. It's 3-1 on 55 minutes. That's maybe we could come back and salvage a draw from this somewhere. It's quite a nice finish in the end as well. Right, substitutions. I mean, I was going to take Kane off, but now he's scored. Would it be wrong to take him off? I think we do need to take off Danny Rose. We've already talked about that. Oh, goodness. Yeah, we're just going to take Harry Kane off now. Because there's just no point keeping him on. We're 4-1 down. Let Vardy have the opportunity to come on and be a hero. I'm pressing the B button rather than the A button. Curse you, Nintendo, for having your buttons the wrong way round. The B button takes you back to the previous screen, which is why it's causing me so many problems. Right, let's get over to the tactics screen. And I might even do a triple substitution on half an hour, because what have I got to lose, really? We could even bring Danny Ings on, but that seems a little bit silly. Luke Shaw is going to come on, though, at left back for Danny Rose. And then who could our final change be? We did talk about protecting Henderson, but we just don't have anyone who can come on and play in midfield. I guess what we could do, drop Lallana back, maybe even try the back 3 that we were just talking about. If we bring Kyle Walker on for Jordan Henderson and just completely rearrange the team. We've got nothing to lose at the moment, so let's see what like a 3-4-3 looks like. Stones needs to be in the middle, and there you go. This gives you an idea of how it is setting up a tactic using the switch. When I did the previous one, it was on the touch screen, so it is a little bit clunkier. doing it this way. Although, I mean, it's responsive. It would be easier to do this using a touchscreen or a mouse. But if we set them up like that, and then make Lallana... I mean, he doesn't really do any of this very well, does he? I mean, we're just going to keep him as a box-to-box midfielder, I think. And then keep him like that. So, I mean, could this be an option for bigger games against the bigger teams? We've got half an hour to see if this tactic has any chance of being any good. I imagine what we should have done is taken it off of control. But then who cares if we lose 7 or 8-1? It's a game where it didn't matter. We've already qualified for the next round. Let's manage expectations. Let's get absolutely thumped by Argentina and show the world that we can be easily beaten. And then hopefully we can surprise a few people in subsequent rounds. I mean, I didn't mean it. This is all, it's all talk. I don't want to lose 7 or 8-1 because that's just going to destroy the confidence. I don't know how much confidence, morale, dynamics, that kind of thing plays into Football Manager Touch. It's not really a game mode I've ever really played. I usually just play the full fat version, so I don't know if that kind of thing is going to be important in Touch. I know tactical familiarity isn't really a thing in this version of the game, so we can kind of flit around between tactics and figure out what we want to do, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, you could argue, I guess, that this front three that we've got, perhaps we've got them lined up wrong. Perhaps we should have Rashford up alongside Vardy with Lingard in behind. So let's make that change as well. Can we do it from this screen? I'm pressing B again. Oh, Nintendo. Oh, I know if you're as old as I am, then you'll know as well that Nintendo were there first. They had the A and the B button this way round back in the 80s. But let's not pretend that they're up there with Microsoft anymore. The Xbox One controller is your default controller now, unless you're a steadfast PS4 player who never plays with a controller on a PC and just never really touches any kind of third-party generic controller. I think the Xbox One button arrangement is the industry standard. So for A and B and X and Y to be the wrong way round on this just pickles my brain. It really does. Right. Are we going to create any chances set up this way? I mean, what we have got is a bunch of tired players. Rashford in particular, John Stones, some of our younger players who have been important. Rashford maybe not so much. He's not really had a good game yet, which I'll level with you. I'm a little bit surprised because when I did my practice tournament, he was top scorer in the World Cup, got player of the tournament, got like 11 goals from the 8 games or something. Marcus Rashford playing in exactly this role in exactly this system was lethal, and he just hasn't been at all. It just shows the variables that come up. I mean, it was just frustrated. Just frustrated. Right, there is Rashford with the chance to put a bit of pressure on the Argentina defence, and he does not do that. And yeah, we've been absolutely battered today. But remember, all is not lost. We are into the second round, and that match will be coming up in the next video. If you've enjoyed this, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.